Hey, I'd like to welcome you into my home and my heart. Actually, welcome you into a journey of living in this world while at the same time seeking to be very much a part of another world. From the 1992 presidential campaign of Bill Clinton, a phrase was made by James Carville and was later coined this way: "It's the economy, stupid." The statement ended up affecting my life in an unforgettable way. Now look, I gave my heart to Christ in the living room of Ernie and Ricky Pruitt's home, April 2, 1972. I did not just invite Jesus into my heart for the whole heaven and hell exchange thing. I was led to surrender my heart to Christ, to follow Him fully. That's how it all began. In that very moment, I was radically changed. My life center flipped. I went from me to He instantly. I don't mean I lost all of my self-centered instincts. I just lost in a moment an ease, a comfortableness, if you say, with being self-centered. And so yes, I wandered off, but there was He there nudging me back. He has ever been present, convicting my unloving nature. And yes, there's still a ton to nudge. He has also been ever present to inspire me to live from His loving nature. Now, eventually I went on, grew in faith, finished college, married an amazing wife. We had 2 children and planted a church. By the mid-90s, well, we were flying high. Everything began to just take off. An odd thing happened during those days. I slipped from Christ at the center of my life and began to unwittingly put the church at the center of my life. The chief aim and goal, my obsession, was strategizing for growth. My identity was all in how big and fast we were growing. Look, the writer of Hebrew warns us that sin is deceiving, and those deceived by it become so hardened they become unfeeling to those faithful inner nudges of the Holy Spirit. Hey, that had happened to me. Hey, I know it is true. I was there. Hard to convince someone going and working for a great cause that it really isn't God's work. Sin, or putting something or someone else more important than following Jesus, is a hard thing to admit when you're hardened, when you're deceived into thinking, I'm doing the right thing because I'm doing such a great work for God. Hey, look, it's difficult to imagine people coming to a church, especially my church, and it not being a good thing. In fact, it not being the best thing. Then there were those Carville words. Yes, it took a few years for God to use them, but they finally hit. It's the economy, stupid. The phrase was actually turned this way in my heart. It's Jesus, stupid. I know, stupid sounds a little bit harsh, but it really is stupid for anything other than Christ to be at the center of one's life. Look, this brings me to the purpose of this blog. There are many opinions out there, so why jump in and throw another one in? I can still remember standing in a meeting in Virginia back in what would have been probably the late 90s and coming to grips with what was at the center of my life. In an instant, I longed for Christ to return to be the center. Look, it was humiliating. I had to admit it first, then I had to relinquish the subtle ambition of building my church or a big church or an influential church or a significant church. I had to give all that up in an instant. It was like it happened yesterday to me. In a moment, Jesus was going to have to be more center than any of my ambitions, even my virtuous ambitions. Well, when church growth began to be my central goal, it became my center. I deceived myself into thinking I was doing it for Jesus. But look, I was doing it for me. Imagine using the church, the place you go to know Christ, grow in Christ, the place that you should find Christ, becoming a place of business, a place for profit, a place for growth. This was not an absolute force in my life. I loved Jesus, I really did. I didn't want Him to slip from the center, but little by little, He had. When the church becomes all it should be, it will be driven by the longing for every person to to know Christ and give themselves fully to Christ, listening to Him as the ultimate influence of their existence. So, yes, as a pastor, the Carville phrase became a bit of a rebuke, but also a touch of a mission. It's Jesus stupid. Well, why these blogs? Well, to walk through a bit more publicly my journey of Christ as the ultimate center of my life. Whether it be in one of these areas of my life or your life, devotional life, service life, whether it be dealing with identity or health or personal development or parenting, whether it be marriage or even finances, my professional life, my recreational life, it doesn't really matter. Because this list is not put into some kind of priority structure. It's a list of activities I'm engaged in where Jesus wants to be the center of everything submitted to His Father, so that I can flourish as Jesus reigns as my ultimate King. This blog is about the struggle of allowing Christ to be the Lord of our whole life. It's about God wanting to raise up Daniels and Josephs who will flourish in the secular for-profit world, but never at the cost of their own souls. I'm jumping in because I sense the Holy Spirit is leading me to quietly add something to the witness and the conversation, which might be a little bit unique. In short, I am seeking to walk out with others this motto: it's Jesus stupid. The blog is designed to post stuff about areas of our life where Jesus ends up at the center and ultimate, and those who live will live to revolutionize the world that's around them. So I hope you'll join in as you kind of enter my home and enter my life, and I'm hoping it's going to be helpful.